everybody. Monday, December 23rd, 2013. 2 days before Christmas. Merry Christmas if you are of the Christian faith. Happy holidays if you're a Muslim or a Hindu. And happy Monday if you are a Jehovah's Witness. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now, where we pull back the curtain on the way that medicine is delivered here in the United States, quite frankly, all around the free world, and show people what's really going on, because you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that what's happening isn't working. Medicine isn't working. As it's disseminated and throughout the free world, it's not working. It doesn't work. And there's a reason why it doesn't work, but the medical system's monopolized by the people that are ineffective, and so they have brainwashed us all into thinking that their way is the only way, and that the reason that their therapeutics don't work is because medicine is a very complicated thing. It's a nonsense. The reason that MD-directed therapeutics are ineffective, completely ineffective for chronic disease, is because that's the philosophy that the MDs are trained in. MDs don't think that the body can fix itself, so they're trained to be able to manage your symptoms. That's it. They manage your symptoms till things get so bad that you need an operation. Case in point. We had a webinar this morning. We do 4 hours of live worldwide webinars a week, accessible exclusively for Dr. Glidden insiders and their guests, exclusively for insiders and their guests. Want to become an insider? You want to help someone in your life? You really want to make a difference this Christmas season? Well, here's what you can do. You can buy them a jacket, that they're going to throw away a year from now, that's going to get worn out, or maybe that they're going to spill some coffee on it and then they're going to donate it to the poor. Or you can spend the same amount of money, about $100 that you'd spend on a jacket, a good, decent jacket, and buy them a year-long subscription to my online health recovery webinars, an online health recovery webinar series, or buy them a DVD set instead of my 7 DVDs. That's not a bad present. The gift of health never wears out. It's going to get better and better and better. If you give them a subscription, then they have access 4 hours a week to live health webinars, plus over 100, and I think we're up to 110, 115 hours of archived health webinars available at the click of a mouse, 24/7. Now, which is better, a piece of clothing or an attachment for their iPhone that's going to wear out in a year, or the gift that keeps on giving, the gift of health? Well, that's a much better way to spend your money. Visit the website, Fire Your MD Now. Click on the store button, click on the Become an Insider button, and hook your friends and family members, church members and community members up with our message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutics. Case in point, Sherry Bob from Wisconsin writes in the webinar this morning, my friend Sylvia from Australia has this question. I'm 21. I weigh 50 kilograms. That's about 110, 115 pounds. Been initially diagnosed with gut dysbiosis via a stool test. Came back positive for Clostridium streptomonas. Had a fecal transplant in May, but it didn't help with the symptoms. I have no idea what that is. Recently showed up positive for Lyme disease, despite not being bitten. My symptoms include digestive issues, headaches, depersonalization, and recently ongoing weakness from what seemed to be a virus, which is gone now. Weakness is really bad still. My bladder issues and hypoglycemia are probably the main things. So this woman is in her early 20s. She's got bladder issues. She's got blood sugar issues. She's got stuff going on with her digestive tract. They think that she has Lyme disease, but they're really not sure. And she's over there in Australia, where they take money out of their paychecks every month to give them access to this type of medicine. So while she's given herself over to the care of conventional medicine, while she has given her faith and her trust and her hard-earned dollars, not dollars in Australia. I don't know what they're called. You get the drift. While she's given them her money and her faith and her trust, quite frankly, and her body, they've let her down. And they've let her down big time. And when they fail, whom do they blame? Do they blame themselves? No. Do they turn the looking glass back on themselves and say, holy smokes, we're really screwing up. What can we do better? No. They blame the patient. Oh, you're lazy. You've got the Lyme disease. That's what you've got. You've got a bad gene. It's not the doctor's fault. It's your mother's fault. It's your father's fault. It's your grandfather's fault. It's your grandmother's. It's your great-grandmother's fault. For goodness sake, it's your great-great-great-grandparents' fault. That's where the fault lies. You want to fix it? Go back in time and fix it. It's nonsense. We have become worshipers at the altar of medical mediocrity. So much so that when the MDs fail us, when the MDs harm us, when the MDs kill us, we continue to give them our hard-earned money every month just for the opportunity at some point in the future of kneeling at their altar again. Now, let me ask you a question. Does medical insurance prevent disease? No. Does medical insurance support and promote the structure and function of any part of your body whatsoever? No. What does medical insurance do? Medical insurance gives you access to the leading cause of death in the United States, the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, and if you're a citizen of the world, a system of medicine which has consistently failed to come up with a cure for any chronic disease. The MDs have been driving the bus of medicine exclusively since the early 1920s. Do the math. What's that? About 95 years, 80 plus 20, and 93. It's coming up on 100 years, coming up on a century of MD domination of the medical marketplace. And what do we have to show for it? Well, I'll tell you what we've got to show for it. Cancer, out of control, no cure in sight. We've given the research facilities, the pharmaceutical industry, medical schools, universities, nearly $1 trillion. You know how much money that is? It's a lot. We're not anywhere even in the vicinity of a cure for cancer. Heartburn, forget it, can't cure it. Arthritis, forget it, can't cure it. Type 2 diabetes, no idea what causes it, can't cure it. Arthritis, no idea what causes it, can't cure it. Osteoporosis, no idea what causes it, can't cure it. Kidney disease, no idea what causes it, can't cure it. Cystic fibrosis, disregarded the research that proved what the cause and the cure was, disregarded the research, blackballed the doctor that developed the research. Don't want to know about the Rife frequency generator. No, the FDA confiscated all of that material. Don't care, don't want to know, have no idea about what it is, or maybe a couple of people do, but they're keeping it secret. It's in the same room with the Ark of the Covenant and all the other stuff that they've discovered. High blood pressure, don't know what causes it, can't cure it. Depression, don't know what causes it, can't cure it. Attention deficit disorder, don't know what causes it, can't cure it. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder, don't know what causes it, can't cure it. Schizophrenia, no clue. Dissociative disease, psychoaffective disorder, no clue. No clue. No clue. Constipation, no clue. Asthma, no clue. The only things that MDs know the cause for and how to fix it are acute infectious diseases. We know what causes pneumonia. If you've got a bladder infection, I can pretty much figure out what's the cause of it, and I can tell you how to cure it. I can tell you exactly which antibiotic to take. We can do that. But that's it. This is why the domain, the wheelhouse, the forte of the MD is relegated exclusively to the treatment of acute disease. Exclusively. But remember, Harvard University, isn't Harvard University supposed to be pretty well respected in the field of medical science? Well, Harvard University says that over 50% of MDs working in emergency rooms in the United States are addicted to street drugs, alcohol, or prescription medications. Which means, again, if you're unlucky enough to be transported to the emergency room, have your emergency room physician drug tested before you let him near you with a scalpel. And yet we will not do this, and yet we will continue to suffer, and yet we will continue to genuflect at the altar of mediocre, Machiavellian, mundane, monopolistic, expensive MD-directed medical treatments because we don't know there are any other options. And, it doesn't help the cause that the pharmaceutical industry, the American Medical Association, hospital associations, insurance payers, providers, for the last 100 years have told you that my profession, the naturopaths and the chiropractors and the homeopaths and the herbalists and the acupuncturists and the traditional Chinese medical practitioners and every other practitioner in the world except the MD is a quack. That doesn't help, does it? You've been brainwashed, folks. Call it what it is. You have been brainwashed. It's brainwashing. You continue to give your hard-earned money. You get nervous when you think about not making a medical insurance premium payment. You get nervous. Now, of course, since Obamacare's kicked in, it's mandatory. You have to buy medical insurance or they're going to fine you. Imagine that. Wouldn't you love to have a business? Wouldn't you love to have a business where the government made it mandatory for people to go to you? Wouldn't you just love that? Well, that's what we have now in the United States. We get nervous. We've been so brainwashed, and I'm choosing my words carefully, that we get antsy. We get nervous when we come close to missing a payment. Oh, can't miss a medical insurance payment. I'd rather miss a car payment than a medical insurance payment. Oh, no. And what does medical insurance give you? Well, what are you doing when you're buying medical insurance? What are you doing? You're betting you're going to get so sick you won't be able to afford the treatment. Isn't that what medical insurance is? Now, wouldn't it be better to spend that money on therapeutics that have been science-based and clinically verified, delivered and developed by physicians, proven to help strengthen your body? It's a much better way, ladies and gentlemen. Our way is the better way. Fire your medical doctor now. Call me instead. Stick around. And we're back. Want to hear a testimonial? Well, you're gonna. This from the chat room this morning. Let me find it. I just had it. This is from Linda from Arizona. She types in this morning. This was during our live Monday morning chat, exclusive for insiders only. Hey, Doc, I just wanted to let you know some of the improvements I have seen, so it doesn't sound like I'm only just complaining here in the chat room. All of the following are gone, subsequent to longevity therapeutics and cleaning up the diet. You ready? You ready for this list? These are all gone. She was suffering from all of these, and now, after using science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition, they're gone. Seasonal affective disorder, plantar fasciitis, elbow muscle pain, chronic sinusitis, pain and tenderness at the base of my skull, scalp tenderness on the right side of my head, pain and tenderness on the outside of both hips, hot flushes and night sweats, gum pain and bleeding when I brush my teeth, chronic indigestion, pain and tenderness on the outside of the knees, pain and slipping in the shoulder joints, sections of my jawline that had been receding. This is the best Christmas that I have had in years. Thank you, and Merry Christmas. And this is what we bring to the table. This is what we get done. This is why we are forming a grassroots coalition of the informed, because everybody in the flippin' universe is suffering from stuff like this. And people think it's just par for the course. People think, oh, it's just life. Youth is wasted on the young. Oh, I only wish I had my young body back. Well, guess what? The reason that your body is suffering is not because you're getting older. It's not because you have a bad gene. It's not because you have a voodoo curse. It's because you have a sucky doctor. Because you have a doctor who's trained and practicing old-fashioned, outdated therapeutics that are completely inconsistent with the reality of the human experience. Your medical doctor is a colorblind art critic who doesn't even know that they're colorblind, and they will consistently give the wrong critique. But it becomes reality by consensus, because when 1 million doctors in the world all say that it's an autoimmune disease or whatever, everybody thinks it's an autoimmune disease. We have let the crazy people run the village. and we're suffering needlessly because of it. Now, I mean, how many, these are 13 things that Linda from Arizona recovered from. 13 things that she recovered from without drugs. She's not just managing the symptoms, they're gone. Why did she have them in the first place? Because her body ran out of the nutrients it needed to keep her bones and her muscles and her ligaments and her joints and her organs intact. For goodness sake. If you had any idea, if you knew 1/10 of 1% of what I know, of what I've seen people recover from, you would walk to Chicago. You would find my house, you would knock on the door, and you would say, Doc, sign me up for longevity immediately. And you would bring everybody in your family along for the ride. Everybody in your sphere of existence would be a longevity member, would be eliminating the 10 bad foods, would be following our prescriptions for health. Why? Because they work. You know, you give a little tomato plant good food, good fertilizer, good soil, good sunlight, good water, it's going to grow, right? Remove any one of those, the little tomato plant's not going to grow. Well, it's got the same chromosomes. Why isn't it growing? Must be genetic, right? No. You gave it the wrong stuff. Needed more sunlight. Needed more water. I don't know. Needed more fertilizer. Needed something. You weren't given it. Well, the human body is no different. The human body has the need for 90 essential nutrients. The human body has the need to not be exposed to stuff that's hurting it. If you continue to eat food that is corrupting the human body, it's only a matter of time until those chickens come home to roost. Now, it doesn't matter that everybody in the world is eating all the crap food. You look around and you think, well, everybody eats this stuff. It must be good. Well, everybody's sick. At one point in time, everybody and their brother was smoking cigarettes. Does that mean it's good? No. At one point in time, asbestos was everywhere. Not anymore. Because we've smartened up. Well, you want to be ahead of the curve. You want to be on the tip of the spear of science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutics. You've come to exactly the right place. FireYourMDNow.com. Sign up. Become a longevity member through FireYourMDNow.com. Let us hold your hand and walk with you side by side into the undiscovered territory of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Talking to Terry in Virginia when we come back, folks. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Monday. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Monday, December 23rd, 2013. Oh, by the way, you know the woman who was on the chat room from Australia who had the question about all that stuff? Well, what do we do? Well, it's a digestive issue disorder, mostly, right? Everybody needs foundation 90 essential nutrients. So everybody gets the appropriate healthy start pack for their body weight, plus selenium for their body weight, plus they eliminate the 10 bad foods. So the digestive issues here would predominate, and they would, trump everything else. So the recommendation is easy. It's 1 healthy digestion pack and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. This woman's a little over 100 pounds, so the recommendation, 1 healthy digestion pack, 2 bottles of selenium per month. It's never a bad idea to give extra plant minerals, especially when there's something going on with brain chemistry. You need extra plant minerals. So that's where a really good place to start. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Do 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals a month, 2 bottles of ultimate selenium a month, and 1 healthy digestion pack per month. Do that for 90 days and see what happens. All right, let's kick it off here. Oh, by the way, 866-582-9933 is the number to call to speak to me live, 866-582-9933. Let's go to Virginia and talk to Terry. Hey, Terry, welcome back. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden.
How are you, Terry? What's the latest?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I've been on your regimen for almost 4 months, Other than running out of a few things here and there, I'm doing really good. Everything's cleared up, except I am still on the blood pressure medicine. And my question is, do I need to go on a reduction program now, or do you want me to stay on the same amount of supplements?
Well, what's your blood pressure?
Well, my blood pressure is normal to slightly low. About 3 nights ago, it was like 150 over 80. That was like late at night. I've only had that problem like once or twice since I've been on your program. I'm just afraid to try to go off the meds because it got so high in the past, like a few years ago. I'm fearful.
Well, all right. So, here's the deal, right? So, if it was, you live in Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. Does it snow where you live?
Yeah, it does all kind of crazy stuff here.
All right. Well, 2 years ago, if there was a big blizzard, and you were stuck outside in your bathing suit, that would be a bad thing, right? Mm-hmm. And you'd get frostbite and things would be bad, and that's not a good thing. Now, that doesn't mean the next time there's a blizzard, you have to suffer the same fate, because you'd be smarter and you wouldn't go outside in your bathing suit. You'd go outside all bundled up. So you have to understand, Terry, that the reason from our point of view, there's only 2 main reasons why people get high blood pressure. The first and foremost is a lack of calcium and magnesium, period. The second is some type of funky situation with your kidneys. Now, just because you had high blood pressure in the past doesn't mean you have to suffer from that now. And, the only way you're going to know whether your body is okay without prescription medications as far as the blood pressure issues go is to wean yourself off of the blood pressure meds with medical supervision. So it's that time. Now's a good time to do that. It's a better time than any. So I would get with a pharmacist. I wouldn't go to an MD. I would consult a pharmacist and say, hey, look, these are the blood pressure meds I'm on. I'd like to reduce them appropriately, see what happens. Can you please tell me how to do that? And then I would get on board with that program, and I would march ahead and do that. Now, also understand, there is controversy inside of the medical field as to what constitutes high blood pressure and what constitutes low blood pressure. And they just came out with new recommendations. The American Heart Association just came out with new recommendations last week, but the recommendations they came out with conflict. They gave 2 separate sets of conflicting information. So even the MDs who are supposed to be up to date with all of this stuff are not. And so the last person you want to lean on for high blood pressure number recommendations is the MD, because they can't even agree amongst themselves what's correct and what's not. You go to 10 different MDs and they'll all tell you 10 different things. So you need to forget what they say about stuff like this. What I'm going to tell you about this is the following. High blood pressure it can only be definitively diagnosed if you have had 3 back-to-back readings, 3 readings in a row, where each number is elevated above 140 over 90. So, it's got to be 145 over 95, or 150 over 100, or 147 over 93. But if just one of the numbers is elevated once, it's 150 over 70, you don't have high blood pressure. You're borderline. So I would encourage you at this point in time just to, buck up your courage, understand what's going on here, and get on board with the blood pressure reduction medication program while you are measuring your blood pressures. And the only time you need to be worried is if you have had 3 consecutive readings where each number is elevated above 140 over 90, and it has to be 3 times in a row. So I would recommend you reduce your prescription meds, see what happens, keep your fingers crossed, and, call me back if it's not working. But the first thing that I'm going to tell you to do, if the blood pressure snaps up, is to increase your calcium. Double up on the calcium that you're taking for 2 or 3 days and see if that doesn't fix the problem. Otherwise, we're going to have to do some kidney support, but I'm going to bet you 25 cents it's a calcium issue, and that you're probably very close, if not all the way on the other side of it now. But the only way you're going to know that, Terry, is if you bite the bullet and come off of your meds with supervision while you're measuring your blood pressures at home every day.
Well, now, whenever they tested me for it, Dr. Glidden, they said that it was stress-related hypertension. And I went to a naturopathic about it, and she said it was secondary stress-related hypertension. But back when it was getting really high, I was, really shaken uncontrollably, extremely anxious, extremely nervous. I was able to bring it down with hibiscus tea.
Well, all right. So this.
Around.
All right. Well, look. This makes my argument. I mean, this seals the deal, because the single biggest cause of anxiety and panic attacks like that is not the stress of life. It's not enough magnesium and calcium in your body, period. And again, it goes back to the metaphor of the snowstorm. There's not anything you can do about the stress of life. Life is a great big bowl of stress, and God only knows what stress is waiting for you around the corner. Nobody knows that. So what you can't control the stress of life, but what you can control is the strength of your body. So if you go outside in snowy weather in your bathing suit, it's going to hurt you. But if you go outside in snowy weather in a snowsuit, no problem. So when you nutrify your body appropriately, you will guard it against the stress of life. And so you experience the same amount of stress this summer that you did last winter, and it doesn't affect you because your body is stronger and nutrified. Now, so really, this seals the deal as far as I'm concerned, and I would hazard a guess to say that your biggest problem historically has not been the stress of your life. It's been a lack of nutrition in your physical body. And that once you get that sorted out and you get your body stronger, it's going to be able to handle the stress of life in a completely different way than it has in the past. So again, the recommendation is withdraw from the meds under supervision, professional supervision. See what happens. Take your blood pressures regularly, a couple times a day, every day. Keep your fingers crossed and see what happens. Wouldn't that be a great way to start 2014 with normal blood pressure?
Yes, it would.
You can do it, kiddo. So, just trust me. And it's also the type of a thing, Terry, where, it may be too soon to stop the meds, or you may be able to reduce the medications in half. Or if you're taking two, you may be able to stop one,
I'm only on one.
Well, okay, so maybe we're out of the woods now. Maybe you have to take 50% of your meds for 3 more months or whatever. But
yeah, I've always had a lot of fear in my life ever since I was a child. I've had these unfounded fears about things.
And that comes up just for no reason, kind of situationally, right?
Well, it happened in my childhood. I started having these really bad nightmares of this bull charging toward me. Really? And right when it was about to hit me with the horns, I would wake up in a sweat, real frightened, real anxious, and I've had bad nerves ever since.
What color was the bull?
It was black. It was a black bull. It would start out as a little dot about the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen, and I would know what it was before it even reached me. And then whenever it was right on top of me, I would wake up, and I started having nightmares throughout my life.
And when's the last time you had a nightmare like that?
It's been a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have nightmares anymore, but it's been a really, really long time ago. I don't even.
You've got a low grade kind of fear state running through your body all the time, though, right?
Yeah, fear of all sorts of things.
Okay, so there's a homeopathic medicine that you may benefit from. Are you familiar with homeopathy?
Yeah.
All right, so I want you to write this down. It's a funny sounding name because all homeopathics are Latin. First I'll say it, and then I'll spell it. It's called Aconitum napellus. Are you familiar with that medicine?
No.
Okay, here's how you spell it. A like apple, C like Charlie, O, N like Nancy, I, T like Thomas, U, M. That's A-C-O-N-I-T like Thomas, U-M. Aconitum. Second word, napellus, N like Nancy, A, P like Peter, E, L-L-I-S like Sam, N-A-P-E-L-L-I-S, Aconitum napellus. There's a phone number you can call to order that. It's 800-276-4223, 800-276-4223. That's a company called Homeopathy Overnight. Tell them that you want one multi-dose tube of Aconitum napellus in the 1M strength, 1M like Mary. One multi-dose tube of Aconitum napellus in the 1M strength. Now, you're going to get a little blue tube. It's going to be filled with about 100 little white pellets. It's going to be about the size of your pinky finger, the tube is. What I would like you to do for 14 days in a row is take 2 pellets orally right around noontime. 2 pellets orally right around noontime once a day for 14 days. And see, in those 14 days, if the low-grade fear state in your body changes. Try that on for size. My Christmas present to you, Terry. Give me a call back next year, and we'll see what happens. Stick around, folks. Going to go to Georgia next and talk to Kay. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden, spreading our message, the tip of the spear. We are the tip of the spear of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition, which, by the way, is exactly what the doctor ordered. Let's go to Georgia and talk to Kay. Hey, Kay, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thank you for all that you do. Once again, I want to say that to you, first of all. I have a person that works with me. We are longevity reps. Right now, she's on the anti-aging pack, and she has also the calcium and magnesium. At one time, she wasn't eating enough protein, so she's doing that now. She has her sweeties. What her problem is now, she has problems with her leg swelling, and it's tender to the touch. So we want to know what should we possibly include or take away.
All right, so is that like from the knees down on both legs, or type of a deal?
She's on the line. Yes.
Knee down, bottom of feet.
Yeah, and it's on both legs, left and right?
Just one leg. But I'm having swelling in both. One leg looks real good, but it's swollen just a pinch. My right leg is extremely swollen. Yeah. And normally I haven't been having pain, but last night I couldn't sleep. I was up almost all night long with extreme pain. And I took 5 of the EFA for pain, and that helped me in about an hour. I got some relief.
Well, you ate
any pain like.
Yesterday you ate some Christmas cookies, or you ate something that had that was made from flour. I'm going to bet you $100. Yes, yesterday you ate. What did you have to eat yesterday?
She said bread.
Well, there you go.
Bread.
I rest my case. There it is. Now, see, this is an important thing to understand, and I'm not picking on you. And please don't misinterpret my tone, okay? But this is the deal, and this is how deep down the rabbit hole we've gone here in the United States, right? Because we've been brought up on the notion that bread is healthy and good for you, and it's not. We've been brought up on the notion that it's okay to eat fried chicken, and it's not. We've been brought up on the notion that margarine is better than butter, and it's not. We've been brought up on the notion that salt is bad for you, and in fact, it's really, really good for you. So it's hard. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you can teach an old dog new tricks, but it's tricky. So from our point of view, with medical nutrition, there are 2 things that are necessary. Number 1, we have to clean up our diet and stop eating stuff that's gumming up the works. So you have to eliminate the 10 bad foods, and, bread made from whole wheat, barley, rye, and oat flour is one of them. And, we got to eliminate the rest of the 10 bad foods and nutrify the body. And let this be a lesson to you, right? Because as you go down the track, my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge, and so we need to just understand what's going on. We need to understand it. We need to get it. We need to understand it. We need to comprehend it. We need to grasp it and realize it. And the fact of the matter is, from now on, whenever anything flares up in your life physically, the first thing I want you to think about is, what did I cheat on the diet? Did I have one of the 10 bad foods today? Because as God is my witness, most of the time that's the problem. It's we cheated on one of the foods just because we're not really sold on the notion that that stuff is bad for us. And everybody in our world is eating those foods, and it's the holidays, and we might as well too. And it's an easy trap to fall into, let me tell you. I fell into it when I was in France for a vacation this summer. I fell right into that trap. I paid for it for a week. It's bad. It's easy to do. Everybody falls off the boat. Yours truly included. So, I'm no different than you. So, undoubtedly, that was it. Now, from our point of view, swelling in the legs, chronic swelling in the legs, is a function of not enough protein in the blood. So if you're eating protein now sufficient to the cause, but the swelling is still there, it's because you're not absorbing it. So one strategy is to use a little bit more salt in your food, because that'll help your digestive juices. Or take 1 or 2 more digestive enzymes before a meal. At the very beginning of the meal, take 1 or 2 or 3 digestive enzymes, because either you're not eating enough protein, and I don't think that's the case, because I think you are, and if you are eating enough, it's a simple absorption issue. Your body needs to absorb it better, so help your body digest it better with a little more salt and a little more digestive enzymes. Merry Christmas. Stay on the diet.
And my leg is real sore.